Hello, African Diaspora News family. My name is Reneilwe Morema, and I am your host right here on the African Diaspora News channel. I'm reporting live from Johannesburg, South Africa, and welcome back to another informative episode right here on the African Diaspora News YouTube channel. Don't forget to leave this broadcast a thumbs up. Don't forget to share this segment to your social media platforms, but most importantly, let us engage in the comment section below. You know, when you see my face, I'm about to address the injustices of our Black African brothers and sisters across the globe. Now let us get into it. United States imposes sanctions on Rwandan officials amid DRC conflict and refugee crisis. The United States Department of the Treasury has imposed sanctions today on a Rwandan government minister and a senior member of an armed group, accusing them of being involved in the violence and human rights violation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, known as the DRC. These sanctions target individuals and entities connected to the ongoing conflict, where Rwanda is accused of supporting the M23 rebel group, although Rwanda denies these allegations. The US has called for Rwanda to immediately withdraw its troops from DRC and stop supporting the M23, urging the country to re-engage in negotiations under the Angola-led Luanda process to resolve the ongoing crisis. This move comes amid rising international pressure on Rwanda as the United Nations reports around 30,000 refugees fleeing to Burundi in recent weeks due to the rebels' advances.
Has also exacerbated exploitation and trafficking in eastern DRC's mineral sector, with widespread evidence that 3T minerals are being smuggled to enter international supply chains, including through neighboring countries. We urge an immediate cessation of sourcing of minerals from areas controlled by M23, particularly those identified as red zones by the DRC government. It is beyond time for this Council, the UN, and the international community to marshal a strong and unambiguous response to M23 and Rwandan actions which undermine prospects for peace and bring the region closer to the brink of an all-out war.
Pressure now has Kigali firmly in its sights, as the Security Council also mulls a draft resolution to address the conflict in eastern Congo.
Sustained pressure is needed now to compel Rwanda to return to the negotiations under the Angola-led Luanda process and to work in good faith toward a diplomatic resolution to the conflict in eastern DRC. The United States is prepared to work with Council members on sanctions nominations in the 1533 Committee, and we urge Council members to take urgent action. Furthermore, we remain prepared to leverage all the tools at our disposal in order to hold accountable those responsible for sustaining armed conflict, instability, and insecurity in the DRC.
The Rwandan government has condemned the U.S. decision to sanction a government minister for his alleged role in the conflict in the east of neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. Announcing the financial sanctions on Thursday, the US Treasury Department said Rwanda's Minister of State for Regional Integration, James Kabarebe, a former army chief, was central to his country's support for the M23 rebel group. Also sanctioned was Lawrence Kanyuka, the M23's spokesman, as well as two companies he controls in Britain and France, the US Treasury said. Kabarebe was sanctioned because he is central to Rwanda's support for the M23 armed group. It is said that Kabarebe, together with Kanyuka, were linked to violence and human rights abuses in DRC, on the Democratic Republic of Congo. They are destabilizing activities in the DRC, and the US is not having it. Rwanda's foreign ministry said the sanctions would not resolve the conflict in the DRC, terming them unjustified and unfounded. The US says its sanction to Rwanda is their way of ensuring a peaceful resolution to this conflict. I mean, we all know what the United States means when they say they are ensuring a peaceful resolution to a conflict. It means back off Rwanda so we can continue exploiting the natural resources of the DRC. What people don't know is that Rwanda has the right to defend its borders because the war was getting dangerous and extremely close to its borders. So Rwanda is just doing what any country is doing, protecting its borders. And remember about the segment I told you guys about the M23 and the Tutsis. The Tutsis are the M23. The Tutsis are Congolese. They're not Rwandan. So how can Rwanda back up M23, whereas the M23 has beef with their own government? Their own government is trying to steal land from them and give it to the international companies or give it to the Western countries to exploit and mine these natural resources, leaving the people of Congo in worse poverty state than they've ever faced before. I mean, how can the richest country in terms of natural resources be the poorest today? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We can only account it back to the Congo government, that the Congo government is giving away resources and land to international companies, to Western countries. And the government is only benefiting, is in on that deal because it's benefiting. Government officials are benefiting, leaving the people hungry, poor, and God knows how. So you can't blame Rwanda for trying to protect its borders. No. And by the way, the Tutsis are M23, and there are Tutsis also found in Rwanda. Remember when during the Berlin conference, they would cut into regions and provinces and they didn't care who gets who, where. The Tutsis were divided. The other part fell in Rwanda, the other part in the Eastern DRC. So obviously, if the Tutsis from the DRC are in trouble, their Tutsi brothers and sisters from Rwanda will obviously come and help them. But that doesn't mean that the situation that is happening in Congo right now, and people being separated and being put in camps or refugee camps, is entirely the Rwandan government's problem or the Rwandan government's fault. It's not their fault. It's not entirely their fault. The Congo government is not being honest. They know what they're doing with these Western countries. They know what they are giving to these Western countries and leaving their citizens into worse poverty state and leaving their citizens stripped of their human rights and dignity. They know what they're doing. They must not lie. And we know wherever the United States is involved, it's all a lie. The United States is a country that funds terrorists like Boko Haram that killed millions of Nigerians. They fund terrorist group to go into countries and divide countries, to disband and undermine the sovereignty of a country. That is what the United States does. If there's ever an organization that seems to oppose its country or wants to undermine the sovereignty of that country or wants to cause chaos, like what the AfriForum is doing, the United States will back you. The United States will fund you. The United States is funding Israel, and we know what Israel is doing in Hamas. So, no, the United States is the last people to be talking about peace, the last people to be talking about peaceful resolutions and negotiations. They are the last people because they are known for funding terrorist groups. They deserve to be sanctioned for their actions. No, United States have been bullying everybody in this world. They're sanctioning everybody left, right, and center. For what? For what? So that we can be reminded of their power? Right now, they look like bullies. And last time I checked, the United States is not the capital city of the world. So Rwanda must sanction the US back. No, man. And if we can look at it and what I've explained to you, Rwanda is actually an obstacle course or an obstacle. Are you listening to me? Rwanda is an obstacle for these Western countries to come into Congo and steal minerals from the people there and enrich themselves and exploit the people's labor. work them to death. Rwanda is that barrier that stops these Western countries from doing what they're doing. That's why they can go together, they can come together, these European unions, and, have meetings about a foreign country. They can't have meetings about their own countries. They always have to have meetings about Africa, because they are so power hungry. They are so, they are so selfish. They're so selfish that whenever they see minerals, they have to come amongst themselves to launch an attack as a united front, because they know that Africa is not in a position to, to defend itself. It does not have the military power and budget to defend itself. That's why these European countries and the Western countries can come together, form a big union so that they can come here and bully us. No, it's time we kick out these Western powers, these European unions. How dare they host meetings in our name without us knowing and tell us what to do in our own continent? Are they mad? You don't see South Africa and Ghana and Nigeria hosting seminars and little meetings to go to Belgium and disband and undermine Belgium's sovereignty. You don't see us doing meetings behind the Western powers' back and, forming meetings on how to disband those countries, but yet they have the guts to form little meetings in our names. Why? No, man. I've never seen South Africa and Nigeria coming together and discussing how they can undermine the sovereignty of the United States or any European Union. I've never seen of that, but they have the guts to do that. It's nonsense. What do you think about this segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these